Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, checking in with an early October weekly garden tour. I wanted to start here on my back patio because I wanted to show you that my art has finally been covered. Very happy about that. The tower garden, which was planted a few weeks ago with cool season veggies, is looking absolutely spectacular. And the Brugmansia, this is Charles Grimaldi, is also really starting to put on an amazing fragrant flower display. So without further ado, let me turn this camera around and give you an up-close view. I am so thrilled that this is covered. And of course, Seminole pumpkin might be a little overkill because it grows so large, but it's okay. You can see I do have one fruit forming. This should really start, it's flowering a lot. I should get a lot more fruit set. The tower garden just turned on, and I do need to pluck some lettuce. It's growing so well. It's so beautiful. And of course, a few flowers opened last night, and this is most fragrant at nighttime, but you can see all the flower buds that have formed. This is going to be completely spectacular in just a couple of days. And let me show you over here. Oh dear, I see a wilted jasmine. I haven't watered and it's showing. So I guess I need to pull the hose out. You can see here, wilt. But I really wanted to show you this great key lime, which has set a ton of fruit. Had this about a decade. And you know, I've always overwintered it in my heated shed. This year I'm planning on putting it in the greenhouse. See how the citrus will grow there. And same thing with this. I think this was a Meyer lemon, and nice to see some fruit set on this, more little babies coming. But I definitely need to pull the hose out. Did not realize. Golden Panther, did you know that everything is getting dry? Despite the fact that the ground is so wet you can barely walk? She doesn't care. So it's just coming out to start putting more water in the pool. As believe it or not, all that rain, we've actually been very hot and it's evaporating, so it's getting low and I need to clean it. And I just wanted to show you, when I say I share it with a bunch of frogs, there are a bunch of frogs in here. So there's two, 1 and 2. That one there is really large. And there's a third one over there hanging out in the fallen leaves. They really prefer it to not be clean, but in a day or two's time, they will have gotten it dirty again. And I am essentially their pool girl. We are having a really gorgeous day today, and I have started on some necessary cutbacks, cutting back zinnias that were flopping over. I also went ahead and cut back all that Rudbeckia that was over here. Oh, I see I have a fallen glass flower I need to get staked back in. Just doing some general, really light cleanup so that everything will continue to look relatively tidy until we have frost. You know, you never quite know when a frost will hit. Usually we're like mid to late November at this stage, but we've had frosts in mid-October. So, you know, just gonna kind of keep with it, try to keep everything looking good as long as possible. And then once we have frost, I'll do the big seasonal change out. Well, it's very hot today. I got the pool clean, and I went ahead and pulled out all the coleus that were here at the feed tank bed. They were barely rooted. They hardly had any roots at all. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And really, I'm hoping that that'll give the plumbago an opportunity to kind of grow out a little bit more. And then I was contemplating I could do a quick direct seeding here. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do buckwheat. I need to check my refrigerator before I can make that decision. But as you can see, it looks a bit naked. It's a big wheelbarrow full of stuff. And you know, in the long haul, I'm going to be removing the feed tank because when this house becomes the Airbnb, I don't want the insurance liability of having this in the rental. So I'm really quite sad. I'm happy that it's so hot out so that I can enjoy a little time in it, floating around with all my glass balls, which makes it equally not child friendly. And well, to start putting into motion some plans for building some other sort of cool off pool sort of situation for the White House. And the golden panther is out here harassing the frog. So the frog just jumped in with me. And actually these frogs are really nice. They're slimy because they're frogs, but it's super cute. Golden panther, leave the frogs alone. She just can't help herself. So he doesn't really want me to catch him, but I'm gonna go ahead and try. And not drop my phone. Oh, he's faster than me. Well, I think I found the perfect solution for this bed in the form of the Ms. America Mizuna, which is a type of mustard. It's 30 to 40 days from seed, so it germinates really fast. And basically I'm just sort of evening out the soil, and I'm just gonna lightly scatter seeds in all the open areas. And again, this is just a temporary fix. You know, I have an aversion to open space, and this is I think it's gonna be colorful and seasonally appropriate, and it gives me some time to think about what we're really gonna do at this space when the pool ends up coming out. Timeline on that is a little rough. I'm aiming to have this house on the Airbnb market in February. I've taken both houses. I've taken the White House off starting December. I'm gonna do some renovations on the Blue House, and hopefully things will go smoothly over a 2-month period and I'll be on schedule. But I've done enough home renovations to know that best laid plans never work out, so I'm not gonna really hold myself to anything too firm. But I will say this Mizuna is definitely gonna do everything that I want it to do and a little more. Plus I can eat it, and the deer leave it alone because they don't like the spicy flavor. So if you've not grown Ms. America Mizuna before, you should look it up. I bought this at territorialseed.com. And since I'm here, I did pull the 2 pots of rice out. You can tell this is the one I did the very first one, and it's senescing. You can see that's starting to really lose its green coloration. It's ripe seed, and actually the birds have really decimated a good deal of this, which is great. I don't have a dehuller, so letting the birds eat the seed is totally fine. I am gonna make a video showing my methods for harvesting the seed, and I'm still on the lookout for a dehuller, so maybe this will be the year that I get to harvest it for the purpose of consumption. But you can also just harvest it, stash it in the refrigerator, and grow it out again next year. And so go into the fire pit. Everything's looking pretty strong. The one mangave has finished blooming. The other one is just starting. You can see I've got lots of tomatoes coming. I did do some serious cutbacks on coleus yesterday because they were dry. They were so dry, these pots. Couldn't believe how dry they were. But that's fine because, you know, they're gonna die with frost anyway. So it's gonna do it in increments. I do have a bunch of peppers. I like to try and get the peppers before they get these stretch marks. The stretch marks kind of mean they're even hotter. And I don't really grow hot peppers, but jalapenos can still be spicy. This is the advantage of having pockets in my dress today. Tons of eggplant. I can't even describe the amount of eggplant that I've harvested. I'm bringing a gigantic bag to Georgia with me this week in hopes that people will take it off my hands because it's more eggplant than I can handle. Golden Panther has been having a very fun afternoon. Everything here at the greenhouse is looking good. The squash is really starting to grow fast. It's in full flower, and look, here is a fruit. Just a few days ago, that was a lot smaller, and this is actually a nice size to harvest because it's not so big. You can cook a couple at once. They do get quite large, so I think I'm actually gonna go ahead and pluck this one. I can go ahead and eat it tonight. This is one of those squashes that I end up having a lot of, and they store pretty well, but I can't always eat them all before they start to rot. So this year I'm gonna try and do my best to harvest them young and eat them daily. I am just so impressed with how all of these peppers have done. You know, I'm glad I didn't try and grow too many tomatoes over here because that has generally not worked, but peppers are definitely the right plant for these 100-gallon root pouches. I already harvested a lot yesterday, so I'm gonna leave these because my refrigerator is getting really full. And check out all the citrus on this hardy citrus. So again, this is a plant that I got from the Ralston Arboretum, and I believe it's 1/4 grapefruit, 1/4 lemon, 1/2 Poncirus trifoliata. It's been hardy in the ground for a decade, and you can eat the fruit. They're a bit bitter, but you know, if you use enough sugar, you can kind of do anything with it. I actually often use these as decorations. I slice them, dehydrate them, and use them at the holidays, just the slices of citrus, because they have a really thick rind. The white cloud Muhlenbergia is really starting to shine, and it looks incredible when the sun backlights it. And this border is looking great. We still have a ton of hummingbirds, and they love this Turk's cap. They do not care that it is pink. They absolutely take full advantage of it. And I'm really amazed how big it is. I mean, I guess I knew it would get big, but this is only its, what, second growing season. Well, just to show you out back, we still have a lot of standing water. And, you know, we graveled and Chapel Hill gridded this pad, I don't know, a decade ago. And we've had a lot of rain systems in that time, but just to show the extent of Hurricane Helene here, which is, again, nothing compared to the mountains. It's just devastating to see what's going on in the mountains. But we have these like islands of substrate. And yeah, everything washed. So that's obviously not the solution. Oh my God, look at that deer. It's like, I'm not even gonna run that far. I'm just gonna run out of the way so you see that I live here. So the swamp is swamping, and I am covered in mosquitoes right now. Oh my gosh. But lots of standing water. Hello, dear. She's like, what's up? And I know I've shown it before, but I'm gonna go ahead and show it from this angle. So the path's washed out completely. It's not running water anymore right now, which is great. But you can see why I was putting gravel on them, because without gravel, you can't walk here. This you know, is sort of a pathway. It's not a pathway now, and it's not going to be, because I'm not going to let garden tours come back here because I don't think that it's safe. But, you know, this is what we're left with. And the majority of the gravel piled up down here. There's already like an algae growing. That's why everything looks red. That's not actually from clay, because we don't have clay here. It's just an algae that's growing on everything. It's pretty gross. But yeah, I've got a nice gravel island here. So I've been writing articles all year about this project for my local, it's a free publication called Triangle Gardener. It's really great. And my last article, I was like, okay, I give up. I'm not doing this anymore. So I probably won't keep showing y'all the woodland, because I mean it when I say it. I'm not going to keep trying to manage the space. It just feels futile, and I can put my energy towards building more new native beds in an area that doesn't flood quite as badly. Well, everybody, I hope you'll tune in tomorrow for part 2 of my early October weekly garden tour, where I'll show you the rest of everything that's growing out back, the gardens out front, and really feature all of the beautiful native plantings that look absolutely spectacular. Well, as always, thanks so much for watching. happy gardening.